Hey guys, what is up? So today's vlog is really like interesting, a little bit of boring, but it is super necessary because what do you do with insurance, registration on a van build? Let's get into all of that, shall we? If you hear like a titter-tat, it's actually raining right now where I am. You may hear that a little bit on my roof vent. The mic might be picking it up, who knows? So if you guys are new to my page, consider subscribing. What I do here is I do van life videos. I also do a vlog on things like this, van life related things, or I also do getting back into comedy in 2020, so I'm really looking forward to getting into that. And the thing that I love to do the most is like tours of shops or other vans or tiny homes. I just started consulting for van life and designs. I have a degree in architectural engineering, so if you want to check that out, go to jaredtachi.com. And even in addition to that, I'm with the Reachable app. The Reachable app provides a way to have that one-on-one conversation with me. I offer 3 different packages. The link will be in the description below, and it's me responding, guys. I actually respond to these messages, and I have to respond to them within 48 hours. That's part of the agreement I have with Reachable. So if you guys have any questions about van life stuff, whether it's how I did something or where I park or what I do or how do I make a living or whatever it may be, you can ask it to the Reachable, or you can set up a phone consultation, or if you want to design, go to jaredtachi.com and all that information is there. All that stuff is done. Let's get into what this video is about, because this video, and I'm gonna try and give all the information, but I know there's going to be more information that I'm going to need to give. I hopefully will go over as much as possible. What do you do about registration and insurance? Those two things are huge. I literally just went through that because I finished my van build. This is still very fresh in my mind because I just did all this 2 weeks ago. It does take a little bit of time, but let me explain what I did and maybe some other options on what you can do. Now, this is only in the United States as far as I know. I don't really know how other countries work, so I do apologize if you are going to be inquiring about Australia or the UK or anywhere really in Europe. I don't really know those laws and how it goes over there. Here in the States, it also varies from state to state. So keep that in mind as well. I will give you the rundown on the 2 states that I know the most about, which is California and Oregon. So what I did in this current van right now is I bought it in the state of California, which was pretty much a mistake because the taxes is ridiculous. I also know, I believe Washington tax is pretty ridiculous as well. Washington state, and there's other states out there that have crazy sales tax. 2 or 6 states somewhere around there that don't have crazy sales tax. Oregon is actually one of them. I believe they have 0.5% tax, sales tax. The thing is wherever you register your vehicle, that's where you're going to be paying sales tax. So even if you buy the van in Oregon and you have to register because that's where your address is in Colorado, then you're going to have to pay the Colorado sales tax, which I think is like 6%. Or even California. California, I think, is 9 or 9.5%. How I did mine was I bought it in California. Again, I made that mistake, but my address was here, so I had to do it that way. Everything was already set up through my dealership that I went through. The taxes were actually included into my monthly payment system, which typically if you go through a dealer, they'll do it that way. When I bought the van, obviously it was empty. It was not built out. Okay, so when you get insurance, you're gonna get insurance on a commercial vehicle. When you buy one of these vans, the VIN number is automatically commercial. So for me, I don't know a way around this unless you actually bring the van or you prove to the insurance company you're not using it as a commercial vehicle, which is possible, you can do that, but you have to prove it to the insurance company that you're not using a commercial vehicle. If you're using it for personal use or whatever it may be, then they can lesser your insurance right off the bat. So I'll tell you my numbers right off. I'll tell you, it doesn't bother me at all. Right when I bought the van, because it's a 2019 and because it's a Mercedes-Benz, I was paying like $225 a month, and that's actually pretty good. And that was in California, and my address was in Los Angeles. I was paying that $225 a month for the first 6 months I had the van. Then the van became complete, right? This is where it's gonna get tricky for me because I gotta like talk in a way that I make sense, because sometimes it's all in my head and I don't make sense coming to you guys. So here we go. What I did was I knew that you have to take care of the insurance of the vehicle before you go and register the vehicle. Okay, so I was going to be transferring everything. I relocated from California to Oregon. So I went out and I got a mailbox. That was my address. I used like, not a P.O. box. I used like an actual mailing address, like a UPS store, but it's not a UPS store, but it's like a UPS store. And they give you a physical address, okay? Then you call up the insurance company, which, by the way, the link will be in the description below. You will see the link. I don't even know the name of it. It's like Tacoma Brown and Brown or something like that. I called her up. All of her information, I asked her if I could put her information in this video, and she said absolutely. So please, she has a team of people working with her. Her name was Natalie. You can, by all means, send her an email if you need to know more information about that. But what happened is they asked for some serious stuff. They asked for a bill of sale. They asked for an invoice, bill of sale on the van itself, right? An invoice from your upfitter, and that is the important one. Okay, if you're a DIY builder, this is going to be very difficult for you to do because you're going to need invoices of a builder that did the upfit, because guess what? They're going to be paying taxes on that. What the key is having a upfitter that has done maybe some work for you so you can insure it. And because I spent a lot of money on this van and I had upfitters do, you know, a lot of the work for me, I made sure that I had invoices. I brought it to the insurance company, and then you have to send them a bunch of pictures of the outside of the van and inside of the van when complete. I do want to back up a little bit. The insurance is a broker. Why is it in... Okay, let me... Holy hell. Oh my goodness, I told you I was going to have to gather my thoughts, and I was trying to gather my thoughts while doing this, which is not easy. So if we back up just a little bit, I will say that my insurance is actually done through Progressive, but I went through a broker. Why did I go through a broker in all of this? Because the broker, they understand what we do here in the vans. They understand the conversions. If you call a Progressive, State Farm, Allstate, you know, Mercury, any of those insurance companies, they're going to be like, you did what? You converted what? You live in what? They don't understand it, guys. So I'm going to give you two options. One, go to a broker. That is by far the best, I feel, because brokers understand it, especially Natalie. Like I said, all of her information is below. Or go directly into like a Progressive office, Allstate office. And I'm going to say Progressive because Progressive worked with me. And from what I understand, Progressive is ahead of everybody else when it comes to insuring converted vans. From what Natalie told me is that Progressive is one of very few companies that will insure a converted van into a motor home. What qualifies you as a motor home? There's, I believe, a sink apparatus or running water. There is a bedroom area, and I believe there needs to be some sort of toilet of that sort, I guess. I know I showed her the bedroom. I know I showed her the sink, you know, faucet area. Kitchen, I guess is what they call it. It's also better if you have a cooktop that is actually inlet into the countertop if you want insurance that way. I don't have that, but they were still able to cover me. Again, go to a broker. They know what they're talking about. If you don't really want to go to a broker, they're not taking fees from you, by the way. The brokers get paid from the insurance company. That's how they make their money. But if you don't want to deal with a broker, which I don't understand why you wouldn't, then I would suggest you go directly into an insurance provider. Literally sit down with somebody. They're going to have to write out your whole breakdown, because a lot of these insurance people don't understand what we're doing here. They're very black and white, and you know, guys, this is not well, the van itself is actually black and white because that's my color scheme, but you get what I'm saying. The reason I say do insurance first, okay, is because the DMV, you're going to have to go back and forth several times, maybe 2 or 3. It is what it is. Some states require you to bring in your motorhome in to be inspected by the DMV. You go into the inspection area, you walk in, you get a little ticket, and you say, I need to have my van inspected. I did this in California with my last van. It is a pain in the patoot. Some DMVs understand it, and other DMVs are like, you're doing what? So you have to find the right DMV that has actually gone through this process before. I found a DMV down in San Diego just randomly on my last van, and they were able to inspect it. They saw it, they changed the registration, and then that was it. You know, well, I was good to go, and I was actually able to reinsure that van after the fact. For Oregon, how I did it, Oregon was so easy. Oh my God. I got the insurance first. I went into the DMV. I had to prove my I was changing all my addresses, so I had to prove my residency, which is actually kind of easy. You just need to get something mailed to yourself. Because I had a newer vehicle, I didn't need to get the admissions check. And then the DMV actually came out to the van. I thought they were gonna open the door and inspect it. No, all they did was a VIN verification, which is verifying the VIN on your vehicle, and they call it a day. They even asked me at the desk. I mean, I was super nice to them because I know they go through hell. They even asked me, they were like, hey, what are you registering this as? And I was like, it's registered as a mobile home, or it will be registered as a mobile home. I showed them my insurance paperwork, and because my insurance is covered as a motor home, this will now be registered as a mobile home. Now, the kicker between all of this, right, is actually if you don't own your vehicle, if you don't have the title in hand, which I don't, this is a 4 to 8 week process. So if you are transferring registration to that and you don't have title, just keep in mind that it takes 4 to 8 weeks for this to process. Oregon was really easy. California was a little bit more difficult. California, I had to send all the paperwork off to the lien holder, then they send it to the DMV, then I get like a notification by email that the DMV has received it. I go back into the DMV, do all the registration fees and everything, and then I'm good to go, and my plates were actually given to me at that moment. In Oregon, everything is done for you right there. They give you a packet that you have to mail in to, I believe, I have all the paperwork below, but you have to mail all that in, and they give you the amount that you have to write out. So you have to write out a check, and you can write a personal check out to the DMV, and then all of that gets mailed to you. My plates on my van are good until April. I know that I have to do, right now, by the way, we're in November. I know that I have to do all of this before the end of the year, or the rates will go up. So I know that once I mail in that check, I'm good to go. My plates will get mailed to me up in Oregon at my address, but my plates on my van itself, my California plates, are still good for another 4 months after the first of the year. So I am good in that regard. So make sure you give yourself plenty of time. I hope I just made sense to everybody, because I don't think I just made sense to myself. So now my van is insured for, I believe, $130,000, I want to say, with $5,000 in personal property inside the van, because I insured it as me living full-time out of the van. I am now in the process of changing all of my registration up to the Oregon licensing, whatever. And people may be like, oh, well, how are you going to remain stealth with motorhome license plates? They don't look any different. They're a different color. That's it. So it would be a vanity plate. Guys, it's real. Like, I can still remain stealth. How many of you walk by cars and are like, oh, that's a registered vehicle, whatever. That's a mobile home. Oh, that's a different plate. We never look at license plates, guys. Come on, seriously? You can still remain stealth in cities with different plates. It's not that big a deal. So that whole process, it did take me a minute. By the way, I also changed my license up to Oregon, which I wasn't going to say this, but guess what? I actually failed the license test, and I've been a valet for 17 years before all of this. So, what are you gonna do? I failed it the first time. I missed it by one question, and I went back and I passed with flying colors. I didn't even miss. I missed one question on the second time I took it. Whoops. By the way, if you are gonna take a license test, just read the book the night before. It helps out tremendously. I didn't do that the first time. Whoops. Okay, so just to recap everything, I personally would do insurance first. Most states actually require you to do insurance first. Contact a broker if possible. I would definitely highly recommend a broker in all of this. If you can, I would go to an upfitter to get your bill done, because it is so much easier to get insured, your entire van to be covered, if you went through an upfitter. Upfitters are typically licensed with the state as a qualified upfitter. There's different licensing for that. I don't know how all that works. I'm not a licensed upfitter. Get invoices from them so that you can have all that insured, right? Then go do the registration at the DMV. You pretty much have to re-register your van, and you can do it as a motor home. What are the benefits to having your van registered as a motor home? I actually have met somebody recently that got a DUI in his van, parked in front of his house while drinking a beer in the back of his van, and it was not registered as a mobile home. It was registered as a commercial vehicle. Had the door open, drinking a beer with some friends. Cops came by, said, hey, you guys are drinking. He said, yup. He said, you have the keys in your pocket. Yup. That's a DUI. Maybe they went to court, I don't know, but he was telling me that he got a DUI for that. In a motorhome, you're allowed to do that. The open container is allowed in the back in a motorhome. Registered as a mobile home, in my personal opinion, I think that's the best thing to do. This van is now a mobile home. And also, by the way, you can take this to campsites if you want to not boondock and you want to actually go to a campsite. They won't hassle you because you have motorhome registration. Insurance, mobile home, get it inspected at the DMV. Call up my friend Natalie that's with Brown & Brown Associates or something like that for insurance purposes. I'm sure I missed something because I was in and out of the DMV, I think 4 or 5 times, mostly because I failed my test. And because I had to prove residency twice, long story. But really the registration aspect of it was actually a lot easier than I thought. So lastly, I'll just leave you with this, that I believe some states are pretty lenient when it comes to van life. I believe the #1 is South Dakota. I don't know too much information about that. I think that might be a hidden gem, so I think I might have just given you guys some really good insight there. But anyways, pretty easy to get a registration through that state. Oh, by the way, Natalie is nationwide. She can insure your vehicle in any state that you're in. Just letting you know. All right, guys, I really hope that was super helpful because I honestly have no idea if it was or not. That's what I did and that's how I did it. I advise you to do it that way. I think it was just the easiest, most legal way to do it. There's nothing illegal about how I did things. Upfitters did my build for the most part. I got invoices for them. Registration and all was taken care of. It's a lot of proving things. That's all that is. If you are a DIY builder, I would still contact Natalie to see if you can get it done. And she may have ways to get your vehicle insured, even if you're a DIY builder, because from what I understand, I believe there may be a company out there that you can show receipts and say that I did the build myself. I've heard that that is true. I don't know how true that is though. All right, guys. Again, please go check out jaredtachi.com. If you're also interested in messaging me one-on-one, you could also sign up with the Reachable app, and I will put all those links below and check all that out. And I will see you guys next time. Whew.